Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content.
I will say, J-Mac, I'm sitting there watching that game last night. And, you know, it's an old cliche, but there are bad wins. You know, you win a game and you lose two star players. And there are great losses where you learn a lot about your team. I watched that game last night for Dallas, and maybe it's because I had such low expectations, but I thought that was about as encouraging a loss. Philadelphia boat raced the Cowboys twice last year, and Dallas had that game.
Can I ask you which game, the one before the lightning delay or after? Because they were totally different games.
They were. So let's just start with this. Listen, if C.D. Lamb catches that deep ball and it was a perfect throw, another one by Dak, I think Dallas wins the game. They had more first downs. They were slightly better on third down. They had fewer penalties. They had more total offense. And I thought their clock management, always an issue in Dallas with McCarthy, was very strong at the end of the first half. Yes, Jalen Carter's absence due to spitting is a big break. He is just a complete, absolute difference maker. And for the first half, the Eagles' defense was trying to sort things out and figure out how to play without Jalen Carter. But Dak played well. Don't blame it on Dak. He had people in his face in the second half and made great throws. And here's the thing about Dak. He's 32. He's off his second surgery. Screws were needed to reattach his hamstring. Yet he moved well. He threw with confidence. He didn't get sacked. And again, in the second half, Vic Fangio dialed it up. He was under duress. Also for Dallas, I thought the offensive line, again, no Jalen Carter. Yeah, we know it helped. But I thought the offensive line held up well. I thought they found running lanes. I thought C.D. Lamb and George Pickens against an excellent secondary. That is an excellent, young, talented secondary and linebacking core. Both George Pickens and C.D. Lamb created space, beat their coverage. And also, what are we going to look like without Micah Parsons? Micah Parsons is a great player. He's not the soul of this team. Last year with Micah Parsons, the Eagles averaged 37.5 points against Dallas. Last night was 24. And would have been a win if C.D. Lamb didn't become C.D. Lamb and drop 3 passes. The O-line looked good. Keep your eye on James Houston, who was great as a rookie. He's been beat up. He struggles to stay healthy, but I thought he looked really good. And listen, I have been highly critical of Brian Schottenheimer, but you could not watch the Cowboys last night on the road, rain delay, and not think they're buttoned up. They're good on third down. They're emotionally in check. Very few penalties. So listen, you can have bad wins in this league if you lose a star quarterback but win. You can have good losses. This is in certain places, a young Dallas team. I think they're going to score some points. I was really encouraged by the offensive line. Again, at halftime, adjustments, but Dak wasn't getting sacked. He was moving around. I think you have to be happy as a Cowboy fan. Throughout the game, I'm thinking, Dallas, don't screw it up. Get a top 10 lottery pick. But they still got, 3 years to pay Dak, maybe after this year. So they're invested in Dak. But overall, here's Brian. I thought it was pretty impressive.
We got the right type of guys. We got good players. Again, like I said, you saw what we're capable of in the first half offensively. You saw what we're capable of in the second half defensively. We just got to put the game together in a more complementary fashion. We had chances out there, and there's no moral victories for us. We had a chance to win that game and weren't able to do it, and it'll sting.
I mean, that I thought Dallas, honestly, I thought it was a B++ performance. Obviously, the rain delay didn't help them, but you're on the road. Philadelphia's got the better team. It really came down to C.D. Lamb making one big catch, but very impressive by Dallas. Shockingly so for me. Okay, let's talk Eagles. What did I spend 10 minutes on yesterday with the Eagles? I said they do a lot of things lousy franchises do. And they did it again last night. Jalen Carter couldn't get a snap in before he got tossed. They had more penalty yards in the first half than any team in the NFL last season had in the first half. The Eagles last night. I mean, they went the entire game and barely even glanced at A.J. Brown. They had multiple personal fouls. They were emotionally out of control. They had a dumb taunting penalty when you know the league's been warning all the teams. Taunting, we're not standing for it. I mean, I saw Big Dom more than I saw A.J. Brown. And Philly's got a lot of new faces on defense, so they needed Jalen Carter. That was a big loss. But once again, and we talked about this yesterday, you know what? I've always loved Jalen Hurts, not as much as anybody else, but boy, did you see it last night. Stoic, intelligent leadership. Do you realize in his last 15 starts that he's played the entire game, he's 15-0? And last night was classic Philly. Drama everywhere. Taunting penalties, personal fouls, Jalen Carter. And here's stoic Jalen Hurts, grown up. I mean, now Vic Fangio deserves credit. He couldn't figure out in the first half what to do without Jalen Carter. They go in at halftime. Fangio's like, all right, we're going to switch some things up. He did. Vic's great. So it took them a half to figure out what to do defensively. But I thought Jalen Hurts faced more pressure overall consistently than Dak did. I thought Dallas's front got pressure. But he is so mentally dialed in. This guy is such an impressive human being. I almost think Jalen Hurts is an impressive human being. The quarterback is second. But this was a classic game for Philadelphia where they kind of melted down in the first half. Carter, taunting, penalties, personal fouls. They were kind of a wreck. But what pulled it through? Jalen Hurts picking up first downs. He just, it's like Philadelphia is a big, noisy family. And I learned this when my dad, passed away. Like, who's the executor of the will? They gave it to my sister, right? Like, all right, Colin's distracted. Give it to my sister. And I feel like this is a big, loud family. If you ever had to give the executor of the will to anybody for the Philadelphia Eagles, I wouldn't give it to Nick Sirianni. The executor, it would be Jalen Hurts. Because last night's first half, there was nothing but drama in Philadelphia. And there's a big story. Something's going on with A.J. Brown. We'll get to that in a second. But here's Nick Sirianni on the Jalen Carter incident.
We want to have great, like I said, energy, tenacity, all those different things, but we got to do it within the rules of the game. And we'll address that. We'll go through that, but we got to get better in that scenario because we need that guy on the field. He's a really good player.
The other thing to think about, and I'm going to get into this after the break, but there is one thing, because Philadelphia, if Jalen Hurts is playing the entire game, Philadelphia wins, okay? There is one thing, Jason, and Jason was on this a couple years ago, I got to give him credit, that blows up a dynasty or a great team. Wide receiver drama. And the A.J. Brown situation, last year, you start looking at the data, he is not the guy you think he is. I always said this, Warriors won pre-KD and post-KD. The soul of the team was Draymond and Steph. It was not KD. KD was the most talented. And I could argue A.J. Brown's as talented as everybody on Philadelphia. But I'm going to give you some numbers after the break to show you, what it felt like last night to me? We didn't work together at this time. Randy Moss goes to the Patriots, and he's unbelievable. And you're kind of waiting for the next shoe to drop. And then I forget what year it was, but there's a Monday Night Football game. New England goes to Miami. I think it was in Miami, but it was the Patriots-Dolphins, and they target Randy Moss once. And I remember I worked at ESPN. I went on the air that Tuesday morning, and I said, he's out of here. And everybody back then, I would take emails or calls for the show. And everybody's like, no, you're overreacting. I'm like, the most talented receiver in the game, on a team that doesn't draft receivers, you target against a rival team, Miami, you target him one time. It's not like you targeted him 8 times and the coverage was good. A.J. Brown was targeted, once last night? Okay, so that tells you Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, because Dallas Goedert was eaten last night. Saquon was eaten. Dotson got looks. Devontae Smith got looks. A.J.'s more talented, arguably, than all of them except Saquon Barkley and got one look. That is not coincidental.
Not great at all. And it was not just one target. It was one target with like 5 minutes left in the game. Colin, that offense did not look good at all. You can't rely on Jalen Hurts to bail you out of every third down. They had one pass completion over 10 yards. One, the bomb to Dotson. That's it. Everything else was short. I know it's a new offensive coordinator for Hurts, but which is the case almost every year. But Colin, I'm with you. The takeaway is Dallas looked better than advertised, and Philly did not look particularly sharp.
No, but I will say, the rain delay helped Philly. It's hard enough to go on the road. Like, it's hard to go on the road. The crowd's against you. And then you prepare, and Dallas had a very good game plan. And then all of a sudden, you got a rain delay after halftime, and you're like, okay, it's hard. And I felt for Dallas. I'm like, oh, this is like Philadelphia, the football gods. Remember the Super Bowl where the lights went out? It's like sometimes a team, when the lights go out, you come back on or there's a delay, some players don't react as well. It's always felt like it's an advantage being the home team if there's some malfunction or delay. And I just felt like after that, I thought Philly was a little more dialed in. But you cannot come out of that game and not say to yourself with Dallas, because my thing with Schottenheimer, he hadn't been offered or interviewed for a head coaching job before Dallas, like for 14 years. And offensive coaches all get interviewed. So, like, he was not the party of the belle of the ball by owners or GMs as an offensive coach. But maybe he's a walk-around guy, and his stoicism and chill approach works with Jerry.
It could be. Let me just push back, and I'll offer this. If Jalen Carter's not tossed, you could just take away all those A-gap runs where Javonte Adams is running.
Fair.
By the way, Javonte Adams' total for rushing yards was like 37.5.
Yeah.
He had like 58 yards rushing. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Now,
that's not
totally fair.
And then all of a sudden, Dak gets pressure up the middle. Javonte Williams, sorry. I don't really know what to make of either team.
But here's my take, though. You're right, but the truth about availability, it's on you. Yeah. So that I am not going to say, well, Dallas with Jalen Carter. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what? You're not mature. You had red flags coming out of Georgia. This won't be the last time you get in trouble. So you know what? Dak could have easily spit back and didn't. But the mature Dak's like, nah, brah. Jalen. So Philadelphia's drama is self-inflicted. Okay, so you're right. I do think Dallas found some running lanes that they wouldn't have found. But I will say the pass protection was pretty good.
Nolan Smith was the only guy getting to him. I am curious if Micah Parsons is there for Dallas on that. Is he setting the edge, containing Jalen Hurts? It felt like they missed Micah Parsons. I didn't hear a lot of that discussion on the broadcast.
Well, I thought Houston was really good.
He was solid, but imagine if he was opposite Micah Parsons. Then it's like, well, Jalen's not running wild. I mean, Jalen was just clowning.
Yeah, right. Carter's gone one for Philly. Mike is gone for Dallas. And so you could say, well, it's kind of a wash. It just looked like if you didn't know anything about Philly or Dallas and you were dropped spaceship in front of a TV and you watched the game, your takeaway would be, yeah, I mean, they're pretty close.
Even.
Yeah, I watched them play twice last year. Lopsided. It was Bam in the dynasty against Kentucky. It was like, oh, these teams shouldn't be on the same field. Both games last year. Last night I was like, no, they match up. The lines match up.